Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about one of the most common things that I've seen in the last few months that has cropped up during sales calls, during outreach, as to why agency owners and high-ticket business owners just don't see results when they try to scale with cold traffic, whether that's cold email, whether that's paid ads, whether that's social DMs at scale. It doesn't matter. This is one of those fundamental things that if it's not done correctly, it just means your business is broken. Your offer economics and unit economics just don't work out, so it doesn't actually matter. And that's basically, is your market large enough? Is your total addressable market, or TAM, large enough? Okay, so this is pretty much part of the same document that I take my clients through when making sure that their offer is done correctly from the ground up. So I'm not going to go into the A to Z of an offer because it would be a massive video, and I've sort of done that as one of my first videos in the channel anyway, but I want to spend more time going into this one in particular. So this video basically is part of this, so the four kind of core components of an offer, basically who you're helping, where you're taking them to, i.e. your end point. So you got your start point, end point, what is required to get them there. So that means defining the customer journey, how you're going to make that happen, which is basically defining your process and trying to iron out any points of differentiation or unique mechanisms, right? That's another thing that's very critical to make ads scale and cold traffic scale, but we're going to cover that in a separate video. So this is part of part one. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to go to kind of doing how to do a TAM analysis, right? So total addressable market. So straight away, I can tell you that to see real success with paid ads or cold email or any type of cold traffic at scale, and if you actually want to scale your business quickly, you need to have a TAM of at least 30,000 strong, right? At least 30,000 prospects or leads that are sort of qualified. Okay, so that brings me on to the next point, which is there's two types of TAM really in the B2B markets. There's one which is absolute numbers, which is the actual size of your market, and then number two, which also needs to be taken into account, which is the percentage of the market segment that you're going after that is revenue qualified. Okay, so some people call this your viable TAM as well, or your ICP, right? That's where you chop your vertical or your kind of overall niche or industry into specific market subsegments, and it's kind of like a crucial thing that you have to do if you actually are serious about scaling. This is what all kind of big businesses, if you look at any sort of digital marketing agencies that have scaled to 8 and 9 figures, this is what they all do like very, very well. Okay. And it's just sort of the same thing with consulting businesses and any type of serious service-based business that has actually scaled beyond, 20, 30, 40 million a year in revenue. This is something that they do really, really well. And so it's basically just to do with conducting a proper TAM analysis that's part of this whole, putting together a real airtight offer. Okay, so you need to have precision in who you're actually going after. So I forgot to talk about this actually. So you do want it to be at least 30,000 strong, but you also don't want it to be more than 100,000 strong as well. So the sweet spot is between 30K and 100K. Why is that? So basically, if it's more than 100K, it just means that your marketing message will be too diluted. You're not going to get resonance in your ads or your outreach, and essentially you're casting the net out too wide. You need to be a little bit more specific, and your ads are going to struggle to be profitable because you're not calling out a specific market subsegment. Okay, and therefore ads by definition, you're going to get a lower click-through rate, etc., etc. That has knock-on effects and affects the overall funnel profitability, right? So anyway, continuing on with this document. So in the B2B market, it matters how much money your target businesses are actually making. So if, for example, target market is 30,000, right, absolute numbers, but let's say only 5,000 of those are actually revenue qualified and actually can afford your product that you're selling. So this is on a tangent, another massive problem that I see, which is most agencies only really have one offer, one recurring service. So you can see how the issue here is, well, if your TAM is 30K, but the portion that is revenue qualified for your specific offer and you only have one offer is 5K, you're never going to scale to cold traffic, right? Because you don't have a product suite that's scalable to cold traffic. It's fundamentally broken. Your unit economics are broken. So that's kind of the message that I want to get across in this video. So what's the answer? Well, the answer is you need to expand your TAM. There's two ways of doing this. The first is expanding your product suite. So you make sure you have multiple offers, and there's a way to do this. And that is preferable to the second thing, which is targeting an adjacent market. If you target an adjacent market, it's fine, but it really adds a lot of operational complexity, which is not what you want if you want to scale any service-based business quickly. You got to rinse your current vertical or industry first. And once that's maxed out, once the entire TAM is tapped out, then you pivot and go to an adjacent vertical. That's basically what all the big businesses do. That's how they scale really quickly, right? So, the economics of scaling a service-based business is exactly this. As you scale, you need to roll out new products to capture more of the market. This is preferable to going after an additional niche or industry, as I said, because the latter will add a lot more operational complexity. Why? Because you're catering to a different market, therefore they have different needs, right? You basically got two businesses at that point. So as a guide, if you're a marketing agency specifically watching this, if you want to scale past 100, 200K per month quickly, note quickly, that's very important, you will need at least 2 price points, right? Or 2 offers. You definitely need a lower price point if you want to scale to 100, 200K per month quickly. And the reason I say quickly is because you can, as an agency, just have one offer, just one kind of retainer main service, but you're not going to be able to scale to cold traffic. It's going to be all inbound and sort of leads that you get through content marketing, because you would only be able to work with large businesses, right? So let's say you're a Meta ads agency and you charge 10K per month because you're established, you've got great case studies, etc. You're charging a 10K per month retainer. You're not going to be able to scale that offer to cold traffic. It's just not how it works. You'll have to, build up those retainers slowly by getting inbound leads, pretty much. You'll only be able to scale to cold traffic if you have cheaper products that you can sell and build out a larger product suite where, one product leads to another, etc., etc. And what you're doing there really is expanding your TAM, right? Now, with that said, if you want to scale past 500K per month, you may need 3 price points, okay? So there's no hard and fast rule here, but generally speaking, as you go up the layers, and if you want to hit $1 million a month, what I've seen in the industry, having studied a lot of people now, is 4 products, really. 4 price points with a lower tier product that's rolled out last as well to get crack 1 million a month, basically. That's basically the name of the game. So just expanding a bit more now. This is something that I've learned from personal experience as well. One of the first clients that I had, ICP, was coaches, consultants, course creators that were doing over 100K per month in revenue. Now, they're obviously, they're actually quite a well-known agency, very strong case studies, very good at what they do. But I was concerned even back then because even before I knew what any of this was, I was like, it's going to be quite difficult, right, to find a lot of businesses and book them in that are all doing over 100K per month. And so I basically had a feeling that this would be quite difficult to pull off, and I was right. So after initial data analysis, actually 80% of the book appointments that we got didn't meet revenue qualifications, but I just didn't understand the concept of TAM and viable TAM at that time. So I knew something was like had to be done about it, but I couldn't really like put my finger on it. But now all of this kind of comes full circle, and I realized a few months ago that this is really where it all makes sense, right? So prospects, if they are in your desired niche, they have the problem that you solve, and they're willing to pay you, they are qualified. They are 100% qualified. They are just not qualified for your premium offer. Okay, there's a difference between a prospect that's qualified for your business, for your overall service stack, and a prospect that is qualified for a specific service, right? You need to have different products, to actually cater to different segments of the market. So by definition, the vast majority of the market are not going to be your ideal dream clients, those massive businesses, right? They only are going to account for 10% or less of your revenue. They're going to be your big clients, your probably the easiest clients to work with because they've got everything sort of a lot more of it figured out. But they're rare, because obviously statistically a 7-figure or 8-figure business, is rare, and you're dealing with a rare type of individual who actually scaled their business to that level to begin with. The majority of the market is going to be middle of market, bottom of market, and that's where the majority of your revenue is actually going to be made. If you want to scale the service-based business to 8 figures and beyond, every single the person that I've seen in the industry who's done that has multiple offers, right? So in fact, all the prospects that I did drive to that business were viable closers, but we didn't have the product suite dialed down at the time. So those opportunities weren't capitalized on. And like I said, I didn't understand how TAM worked at that stage. And if you don't understand how TAM works, this is why it's so crucial. Your first conclusion, like I said, is going to be, oh, well, these appointments are unqualified. But again, they're not qualified. They're not unqualified. You just don't have a product suite that is catering to your market, right? So it's a product issue. Yeah, so let's cover another example here. So let's say you're targeting kids' clothing e-com stores in the US, or like the Western 5 as they call it. And you found that to be 150,000 stores. I'm just plucking numbers out of thin air, right? For sake of example, but only 15,000 of them were doing over 100K per month in revenue, right? But you only want to work with the stores that are doing 100K per month in revenue. You would probably, because it's a little bit low, you would probably need to either roll out a downsell or start marketing to an adjacent niche. So I would have recommended essentially a downsell, like I said, because marketing to an adjacent niche, it introduces a lot of operational complexity. Like I said, it's almost the same as starting another business, basically, or another branch of your business. So you can see the value of conducting this exercise, right? So how do you actually find out your TAM? How do you do a TAM analysis? It's very simple. You just Google it. Like you literally just Google it. And there are other obviously popular, B2B databases that, make it very easy, right? You literally just type in your criteria to these databases, and it would give you a very good idea. So, for example, for ecom, you've got Store Leads, you've got Apollo, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, ListKit. For most B2B markets, very simple. If you've got money to spend and you want to go the extra mile, you can also purchase and read industry reports. And that's basically it, guys. That's the video. Just double check that I didn't have anything else to say there. But yeah, crucial learning point here for myself, and I make sure all clients that are going through this kind of exercise understand this, because I've had so many people on sales calls or whether replying to outreach that they don't get results, and they just don't understand that their market isn't large enough, right? Or it's not dialed down enough. People just don't know who they're going after, and that's literally one of the core criteria of conducting a great offer. It's to do with offer economics and offer sort of logistics, but it's just one of those things. You have to, if you don't learn this lesson and you think that you can scale your business by just staying local, you're not going to be able to scale to cold traffic. And likewise, if you try and make your marketing too broad, again, you're not going to be able to scale, because the largest businesses, they're very kind of pinpointed in where they're going and how they kind of scale, right? So they rinse out a segment, then they expand to kind of the middle and bottom segments of the market. Once they've completely rinsed the TAM, they switch over to an adjacent market. And that's kind of the whole kind of thing around vertical segment scaling. We call it vertical segment scaling. It's basically how the largest agencies and consulting businesses in the world have scaled, right? So success leaves clues, and this is one of those absolutely critical points to understand. So I hope you enjoy this one. I'm going to be back on YouTube posting properly now, back on the OBS Gamma vibe, just up my game hopefully. So see you in the next one.